6 o'clock. I'm calling this meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Here.
DePena?
Here.
Graziano?
Here.
Council members Notari, Norvell, and Strumelberg will not be attending this evening, and Mayor Melham.
Here. Sunshine.
Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was published in the Thursday, July 7th editions of the Belleville Times and Star Ledger. A copy of the annual meeting notice has been posted on the Belleville Town Hall bulletin board, and copies are on file in the municipal clerk's office.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Contrary to the agenda, we actually have two presentations tonight. So the first one, I'm going to invite up Ms. Katie from the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. Thank you, Katie. Make sure that microphone is on. Yeah.
Okay.
Go this
All
way.
right. So I wanted to thank you, Mayor Mellon, for having me here today. My name is Katie Visaha, and I'm a Community Health and Policy Associate at the New Jersey Healthcare and Quality Institute for the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Mayor's Wellness Campaign, it's a statewide community health initiative that aims to bring health and wellness and tools and strategies to improve that health and wellness in their communities. So you and your team have done a great job this past year in addressing these health and wellness concerns in your community. And so we're presenting to you the Healthy Town to Watch Award, which we had already sent out to you earlier this year, but just due to COVID restrictions, we just wanted to be mindful of that. So we're excited to be able to give that to you in person or theoretically do so. So by partnering with stakeholders, including the Recreation Department, health departments, local businesses, and Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health, the township was able to offer a variety of programs to focus on physical health and community connections for those residents. So I wanted to thank you again and your team and the council here for your dedication and your work, and congratulate you on your 2021 Healthy Town to Watch designation. And we look forward to continuing working with you and see what you've got in store for us in the next few years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate, Katie is correct. We did receive an award. Mayor's Wellness Campaign is not something that I created. It's actually something that runs statewide. And we've been able to accomplish a lot, whether it's our walk to work days or walk at work days or our yoga days or any of the variety of different things that we do for both the residents and or our employees. It could be everything from our Zumba classes for seniors and our aerobics classes for seniors. But we wouldn't have done that if we didn't have a township and a governing body that was supportive of that. And I see her here. I want to acknowledge Ms. Gabby Bennett-Meany because she really takes the reins with regards to that. It's my name on all the certifications and the plaques, but she's the one that does all the work behind the scenes, and I thank you, Gabby, for that. Okay, so, and we do have that award. It's upstairs in the mayor's office. So next presentation we have is to the Belleville High School 2022 summer baseball team. They had a fantastic summer, winning a championship, so I'm going to just come down and read one of the proclamations, but I want to have actually all the young men come forward and just fill in right here if you don't mind. And the coaches, yeah. So I just want to read the proclamation that's on the agenda tonight. It says, whereas the Belleville High School 2022 summer baseball team won the High School Development League Championship in the 18U division, and whereas the Belleville High School baseball team participated in a total of 10 games during a 6-week span. The team had a record of 4-4 during the preseason and 2-0 in the postseason, beating Caldwell 4-2 in the championship game on Wednesday, July 27th on our home field. Whereas the Mayor and Municipal Council of the Township of Belleville find it fitting to honor these young men for their Belleville High School 2022 summer baseball team who have displayed their dedication, commitment, and perseverance, and through their efforts did an outstanding job and richly deserving of all of our congratulations. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Municipal Council of the Township of Belleville recognize the excellence and devotion exhibited by the Belleville High School 2022 team players, as well as their coaches, Albert Santos, Albert Carrera, and Bob Abramson, and be it further resolved that the Mayor and Municipal Council of the Township of Belleville commend the Belleville High School 2022 summer baseball team for being the High School Development League 18U Division champions and wish continued success in all their years and hope that everybody comes to see these players play. Thank you so much. We have all the coaches up here too, right? We're going to close for one more. A short one? Yeah, there was an extra one there. Good. One more round of applause, everyone.
I love you.
Coach, we're going to actually give it a 2-minute recess. You won't disrupt us. Thank you guys again. Good luck. We're just going to give it about a minute or so they can exit. Can we just shut that door? Because it's going to take a little while to exit. Okay, so we're going to continue with the next portion of our meeting, which is you are here today is our only meeting in August. It is a combined conference and regular meeting. As you know, we typically have 2 meetings a month. However, in July and August, it's only 1. Therefore, the July and August meetings are always combined conference. Combined conference means that we have discussions in and among our council members and members of the administration, any professional. Any council member and or professional can put anything they want to discuss on the agenda. Today, we were pretty light. We don't have much for discussions, correct?
Correct.
So I do have a last minute one that I want to put out there. I did distribute this image to the council members here that are present. I'm hoping the clerk can get it to council members that are not present. And unfortunately, while this is a conversation in and amongst the council members and our professionals, you, the audience, are basically here to listen to it. You can't participate in this conversation, but if you hear something that interests you, or you have a question about something said, you can most certainly say it during public commenting. So we're not being rude, but this is just really amongst us, and you're the audience listening. So we've had several discussions about the new Wawa over on the Roche property. They've been really eager to expand their hours. There's a little discrepancy in their hours. We believe they're they're closed from midnight to 5, but their website says something different. They're not open all night long is the point. They had made a request to the planning board to see if the planning board would okay, I think it was the redevelopment agreement that had to be changed, and the planning board really wasn't in favor of that. And that planning board recommendation, and that's all it was a recommendation not to let it go 24 hours, came to this governing body, and we didn't really act on it because we basically agreed that we didn't want to do that. There were always concerns for security, always concerns over what kind of traffic is going to be buzzing through our town at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning as neighboring bars and restaurants close and we're the only game in town. So there were some issues for that. I think they understood that today. I took a meeting with them as a follow-up, and they proposed to us basically allowing the store to stay open but locked and be able to do mobile deliveries and mobile orders, whether that's Uber Eats or, what's the other one? DoorDash, Grubhub. So that's what they're proposing. They're up and running in 11 different stores, and you could also order on the app and go pick up. And if you were to pick up, there's a window here, almost like a bank, where you can put something in, and it's cashless, it's touchless. You just put your order number, and they give you your stuff. I had our deputy chief sit in on the meeting with me today, who brought some valuable insights when it came to security and concerns that we have as a township. I think they heard them. I think they understood them. It was my obligation and my commitment to them to just explain this to the council and see, explain what their proposal is. We're not voting on anything. We're not deciding on anything. It's something to think about. If they want to come before us in a future caucus meeting for 10 or 15-minute presentation, I told them that if there's a temperature on the council to do so, we would have them in. Obviously, no guarantees. The one thing that I think I drew a line in the sand, and I know our deputy chief supported that, is that we would have to be very comfortable with regard to security up there. There would have to be security there, whether it's Belleville Police part-time or whether it was an outside contractor. To this day, I'm still not convinced that we need it. They make an argument that there is a lot of employees in the hospital that work 24/7, a lot of families in the emergency room, all hours of the night, and they make the argument that this is coming from the community, that they want this, and really it's going to be our call at the end of the day. But I did want to give you, they are up and running in 11 different stores like this. The way the chief and I left it with them is they're going to do a little more homework. They're going to provide us with some emails and due diligence as to what their exact hours currently are, whether the gas pumps would be open or not, any crime statistics from the other 11 municipalities, and see how well it's going. Can we just get them to either exit or quiet it down, please?
Hey, guys.
Thank you. So that's it. I told them that we'll wait their email. The chief and I are going to wait their email. We'll digest it. We'll distribute whatever they give us to the council. And if we collectively decide that we want to hear them out in future meetings, we can. And that was really it. But that happened today, which is why it was not on the agenda.
Yeah, I'd hear them.
We'll hear them. Security is going to be a thing. They make a good point that they have a built-in customer base there at the hospital and the families and everything else. I just said to them, and the chief, and I were on the same page with that. Our bars close at 2 o'clock. The chief made an excellent point that traditionally, as a bar closes and it's the weekend and you're hungry, you tend to leave Belleville to go to a diner that's open 24/7. Well, diners are no longer open 24/7. So therefore, we could have people from Bloomfield and Clifton buzzing through Belleville at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for a hot sandwich. And I'm not necessarily sure we want that. I'm not necessarily sure our police want that extra traffic, or we want any of the problems that sometimes come with late hours, alcohol involved, driving, loitering, and all that. So that's that. Okay, if there's no other questions, issues, complaints about that, we're going to move on forward to the report of the manager.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I know there's a couple of items that the mayor and I might overlap, and I know the mayor is going to go into more detail on the water break. But the water break last week was a devastating. It was just a lot. We were fortunate; it could have been a lot worse. But I do want to just send out some thank yous. The police and the fire department were incredible during the entire period. Actually, the fire department was able to maintain the proper water pressure in the hospital for the entire duration of the break. They were stationed there 24/7. And again, for a residential home, not to have strong water pressure is an inconvenience. For a hospital not to have the correct water pressure, it could be, obviously devastating. So that was that. Public Works, we were on the scene throughout the entire duration of the break. And we actually handed out water one night until 11 o'clock p.m. Next morning, we were back. So the entire Public Works Department did a great job. Our CERT team was out there. During that 3 or 4 days of the height of the break, we had our own water issues in town. We had 2 water breaks and a water leak that we had to fix. So again, the entire Public Works Water Department did a fantastic job. If you've been up to the stadium lately, where our stadium project is probably about 98% complete. The striping is going to go down early next week, hopefully, and that's just about it. And then we'll just wrap this project up. But between the new football field and the softball field, and then the new track, and another soccer and football field, it's looking excellent. It's a great project. And on tonight's agenda, we're updating the code for rules and regulations. When you spend that kind of money on a stadium project, you want to make sure that the proper rules and regulations are in place. Clearly, scooters are a big thing now. We have to keep scooters off the track and the field, and bikes and dogs. We're spending so much money that we want to keep that. So that's, we're introducing an ordinance, and that ordinance that we're introducing tonight is going to tighten up the rules and regulations. People on Washington Avenue may have noticed the installation of our new meters. We're not done yet. This is the meter of the 21st century. It includes coins, it includes credit cards, and it's also an app. So the efficiency is going to be very noticeable in a short period of time. The parking meters that we have were antiques. And last but not least, what we've learned during this last tragedy with the water break is our reverse 911 system. It's Nextel, Nixel.com. Don't worry about remembering it tonight. If you need help registering it, you can always call the mayor's office or the manager's office, and they'll walk you through it. But what we learned is that we couldn't communicate enough or as many times without going on our website, text, voice robocalls. So if you're living in Belleville, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to be registered to get up-to-date information. So it's Nextel.com, Nixel. We'll do we're going to do a sort of like a news media blitz, maybe postcards throughout the town, encouraging everyone to register. That's my report. I'm certainly always available for questions.
So, comment about Nix also, we have embedded the registration code on the website. I know you and I have talked about this. We could probably do things with an iPad, which I know we have. And whether it's our summer concert series or it's our movie nights, we could literally have employees on hand to register people as they come up. Because you could just go to websites, name, cell phone number, email address, submit, and you're in. So maybe, I know we want to do postcards and mail-ins, stuff like that, but that would be a great way to get people registered. It's very simple, you do it right from the website. Anybody else from the manager? No. So yeah, we are going to overlap on some things, but before we do that, I'm going to go through some past events. We had a very successful blood drive a few weeks ago. Our mobile DMV unit was in Belleville. That was extremely helpful to a lot of people that were able to register and get their real IDs. And also, first week in August, Belleville Police Department once again did a great job when it came to National Night Out Against Crime. I do think there might be a change for next year. I think next year it might be more centrally located as opposed to individual block parties. But that's their call totally, and basically their recommendation that we follow. Upcoming events. This coming Wednesday, it's our summer entertainment continues. If you remember, every single Thursday we have concerts. Every other Wednesday there's a movie. This coming Wednesday is a movie night. Unfortunately, it's not Top Gun. They pulled their license. After we paid their license, they pulled their license. I don't know why, something with Tom Cruise, but they pulled their license. So instead, this Wednesday is going to be Spider-Man. Next day is our concert. It's going to be Sounds of Santana. That's going to be a great concert, so I'm looking forward to. All information on our website. This coming Saturday from 9 to 3 at Belleville High School is our farmers market. Every single time we do it, it seems to get a little bigger and a little better, so that's a great thing to see. And next Thursday is our next concert. It's going to be our country band. It's going to be Big Hicks. They're great, we had them last year, and we are going to have a mechanical bull on premises, so if you want to bring your cowboy hat and boots, Gab, you can ride the mechanical bull. We're also, that's an interesting thing I want to mention too, at next Thursday's concert, during the intermission, I'm going to be presenting a check to our veterans, the Purple Heart veterans, on behalf of my civic association, but we're kind of using that to raise awareness to the campaign that they have, and the township has been sharing it on social media and their website. Myself, Councilman Cosarelli has been very involved. We're trying to assist them in raising $10,000. We have a GoFundMe page. I know some of you have already contributed to that, but they're only at about $1,600 or $1,400, $1,500. So we're going to use next Thursday as a bigger kickoff. That's why we're taking the time during the intermission to do that presentation, and then I'm going to really be going full-time trying to raise awareness. Myself and Councilman Cosarelli basically committed to that we think we can get them to that number, and that's something that we definitely want to honor. So that was past events, upcoming events. Quickly, news. As the manager mentioned, this past Thursday was the water main break. I just want everybody to know that, we're now 5 days after, and it's not fixed yet. I think people think because they turn on their spigot and water comes out, or their pressure is basically where it used to be, it's been fixed. It has not been fixed. We knew, myself and the manager knew fairly early on. Why? Because him and I basically lived on that street for about 3 days, morning, noon, and night, all different hours. And we knew that this was either a 72-inch line or 40-inch line, a 60-inch line. It ended up being only a 36-inch line. But because it's 125 years old, there were so many things dialed into it. I know for a fact, I was on site with the manager, DPW, finding any wheel they can find in Belleville, turning it, trying to see if that shut the water off. And this was Nork's break, this was Nork's infrastructure. They finally, it took about 2 days. We think about 1 million gallons was lost, and it took about 2 days to get the water off. Our township quickly acted. Our township engineer had a plan to redirect, or divert, I should say, and that's why most of you have water today. Those of you who don't have solid water pressure, it's not going to come back until maybe Friday or Saturday. We were told that part may have to be manufactured. You can't go to Home Depot and buy a part off the shelf for a 36-inch main. You just can't do it. So that's where we are, but you know what? Something that just always impresses me, and the manager hit on it before, we tend to do a good job communicating as long as you're listening. And we communicate everywhere, whether it's the website, whether it's a scrolling ticker, whether it's a township social media, whether it's my social media, whether it's robocalls, text messages, voicemails. We do it all. And I have to say, every single department really stepped up. I mentioned to you about the township engineer's work. Myself and the manager were basically living on site. DPW did everything they could do to assist Nork, whether it's turning valves, whether it's handing out water. Within hours, we were distributing bottles of water, and that decision to distribute water happened on one day, and by the end of that same day, 1,300 cases were handed out. DPW was there, as always, handing out cases of water. Manager and I were there. CERT team was there directing traffic and handing out water. The police department was there. I know fire department was doing their thing in the hospital. Belleville really came together. And I mentioned it to the chief, deputy chief, that at the end of the night, the first night, we were there till 11 o'clock handing out water. And there was a police officer, a captain, who didn't have his vehicle with him. And I couldn't understand why. He's in uniform, didn't have his vehicle with him. And I asked him why. And he said that he was at DPW getting fuel. And the DPW guys were loading up dump trucks full of water. But there was nobody there that can drive the dump truck. So he left his police car to drive his dump truck to the senior center, knowing that there were lines of people there waiting for water. And that's the stuff that Belleville's all about. I mean, the town really turned out. Unfortunately, I've spent the last 5 days apologizing to residents for poor water pressure and water, but I have to say everybody did a good job. Just to dovetail on the manager's comment about Nixle, we do have a brand new system. That system was barely up and running when this crisis hit, and we are going to make a concerted effort to get everybody registered onto that system. Manager also mentioned the track, so I don't have to go there, but we are very anxiously looking forward to that grand opening of our track. Manager also mentioned our meters, so that's going to be happening. Kind of an upcoming event, I believe it's in October, Essex County Hazardous Waste and Recycling. If you have hazardous waste and/or electronic recycling, that's going to be in October. Information's on our website. Also on our website is the spotted lanternfly information. We want you to squish them, stomp them out, we want you to kill them. I already mentioned that we're going to be actively helping our vets raise money. The goal is $10,000 to pay. That $10,000 pays for their Purple Heart monument that they fronted the cost for, that now lives at our Veterans Memorial on Union Avenue. We have announced on our website, I've announced on social media, we have plans, 1.6 million, if maybe as high as $2 million to redo the park, the municipal park at number 9 school. I'll give anybody up here $1 if they can spell the name of the park. Benny? Anthony? Plansome. I said spell it though, not say it. So that's also an historic thing too, because where that money came from initially is quite interesting. But that's a municipal park that's going to be between $1.6 and $2 million. Zero of that's going to be taxpayer expense, which is great. We also have plans to redo Fairway Park. That's going to be an upgrade of our community garden, redoing the basketball court that was ruined during the hurricane. I think a walking trail there, and fixing and reorientating the baseball or softball field that's there. You may have noticed the great lawn is looking great. It's just looking fantastic. Abby's rolling her eyes, but it's looking great. We cut all the weeds to clean the lean on that property. We're optimistic that we will be recouping that money, but it's looking very, very good. Lastly, we have some great programming happening still. You know, it's summer at our library. And one more last thing. Our community garden groundhog is still at large. So I'll be meeting with the police this week, and we're going to be coming up with a game plan, maybe some wanted posters, but we do have surveillance on it. So as soon as we catch them on video, we're going to be releasing stills. But that's it for me. Next item on our agenda is the committee reports. Again, we have ad hoc committees here on this council. Any council member that has an interest or an expertise in something can jump into any topic they want. So I'll start with the deputy mayor to my left.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
No?
No.
Councilwoman DePena.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilman Cazarelli?
Yeah,
Grant, something?
Two quick things. You mentioned the farmer's market this weekend, which is great. The next farmer's market, which is going to be in September 17th, is also the date of the Green Fair that we're doing in conjunction with the Board of Ed. So that's going to be a big day. Last year was a big success. This year we hope to be bigger and better. So that's September 17th. And also we're about to break ground on a small little pocket park on Division Avenue. It's a small area, but it's going to be a little park of reflection and hope. We're going to have students and any residents want to paint rocks and leave rocks there, messages of hope. It's going to display some artwork from the high school students. It's going to be all paid for by a grant, which we received. I think it was either $10,000 or $15,000, right, Gav? So that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's it.
Perfect. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes.
Combined conference and regular meeting of October 26th, that's the 12th, I'm sorry, and the regular meeting of October 26th.
So 12th and 26th?
Yes.
Want to move them together?
Motion.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion made and second to move together. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is communications.
A request for block parties. 1, River of Life Church on Sunday, September 18th. 2, residents of Hewitt Avenue on Saturday, September 3rd. 3 is residents of Chestnut Street on August 27th. 4 is residents of Little Street on September 17th. And 5, Signature Fitness on September 17th.
A lot happening on September 17th. I have about 7 different events. And B.
The letter received from Joseph Marinello, Esquire, Planning Board Attorney for the Township of Belleville concerning the adoption of the redevelopment plan for 705 and 757 Main Street.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is ordinances.
Ordinance number 1 for introduction, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Belleville, amending Chapter 2, specifically Chapter 2-9.4D, permit fee schedule.
Make a motion open for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for introduction. All in favor? Aye. Next.
Number 2 for introduction, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Belleville, repealing Article 3, Section 26, and establishing Chapter 36 of the Township Code, parks, fields, and playgrounds.
Need a motion for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 3 for introduction, ordinance rescinding the financial agreement with MVJ Enterprises LLC for property designated as Block 2101, Lot 19.01 of the official tax map of the Township of Belleville.
Motion for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made and second for introduction. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 4 for introduction, ordinance approving the First Amendment to the financial agreement by and between the Township of Belleville and R&R Belleville Urban Renewal LLC.
Motion for introduction.
Second.
We have a motion made and second for introduction. All in favor?
Aye.
And number 5 for introduction, ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the Township of Belleville, County of Essex, New Jersey, amending the program established pursuant to NJSA 48:21-1 et sec.
Motion for introduction.
Second it.
We have a motion made and second for introduction. All in favor?
Aye.
We had a fun September meeting. Next on the agenda is ordinances for public hearing, second and final reading.
Ordinance number 1 for public hearing, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Belleville, amending Chapter 33-1, specifically Chapter 33-1.2B, Community Garden Advisory Committee, Parks, Recreation Areas, and Open Space, Chapter 33-1, Community Garden.
Make a motion to open for public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for public commenting. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now open for public commenting on this ordinance and this ordinance only. Brent Antone.
Am I correct, is it creating this new committee?
No, we've had the committee. We're amending it.
To what, to do what?
We just amended the membership type. We now allow one member from the, one member to be a member who's not a resident of the township for their expertise. And anything else?
It's adding an additional member. It was 5 before, so it's 6 now, but this 6th member now can be somebody with
Expertise. That's not the
expertise in
town.
community gardens.
So I'm happy to see that what open space is there, so they're gonna be charged with keeping our open space and,
No, this is the community garden. We have the community garden there. They're in charge of community garden.
it says parks, recreation areas, and open space.
Mhm.
So one of their missions going to be protect our open space.
I think that
Why-
the title is that's the section where it is, but we're only amending the membership for our community garden.
But I'm saying, is this committee, one of their missions, open space, as it says in the
No.
title?
No, that's the section that we're amending.
I'm not talking about
Okay.
it. I'm talking about the title is open space, parks, recreation areas, and open space.
That's where that section
Lives in our ordinance.
in the ordinance.
All right, so part of their duties
No,
on the
no,
committee.
no, no. Part of their
We're
duties is
changing
not
the
that.
memberships, that's all we're doing. From
All right.
5 to 6.
That's what, I'll bring it up at public
Perfect.
session then.
Okay, anybody else? For this ordinance only? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing and move for final adoption.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to close and move for final adoption. We'll do roll calls on those. Roll call?
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2 for public hearing, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Belleville, amending Chapter 2-12, specifically Chapter 2-12.2 of the Administrative Code section of the Township Code.
Make a motion open for public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No? I got it. We're open public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. If you have a question about this ordinance, please come forward. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close public commenting and move for final adoption.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to close and move for final adoption. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 3 for public hearing, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 3634, creating personnel positions and adopting classification and compensation plans.
Motion open for public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
We're now open for public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. Hearing Hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing and move for final adoption.
Motion.
Second.
The motion made in second, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 4 for public hearing, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the Township of Belleville, County of Essex, New Jersey, adopting the 705-757 Main Street redevelopment plan.
Motion open for public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made in second to open for public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now open for public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. Here.
Good evening, Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. I was going to make a request for the edification of our community, the 99.99999% of the residents who weren't in attendance last Thursday at the planning board meeting. You have some of the people who presented the redevelopment plan sitting in the audience tonight. Could a brief synopsis be given for the redevelopment plan? This is one of the biggest impactful projects in our community. This is the 15-acre lot along Main Street, formerly known as the Belleville Industrial Center, which is now going to be redeveloped. According to the zoning for it, as it stands at this moment, residential cannot be placed on this lot as the zoning currently exists. But while there's a redevelopment plan, apparently there are no site plans, so it's kind of up in the air, very nebulous what might actually go here. There's also the other component that this property, as I understand, has already been given A-NOR declaration, area need of redevelopment, with I think it was condemnation, if I remember correctly. But the A-NOR designation then allows the council to grant the redeveloper the possibility of a 30-year tax abatement in the form of a pilot.
A maximum. Yes.
Maximum, but nevertheless, the predicate is now established to allow this governing body to give the developer a huge 3-decade-long tax abatement. So with that said, can, Mr. Millam, you were present, Mr. Graziano, you were present, can a few words be said, since a number of folks do watch the live stream, many more than attend the planning board meetings, just so that it's on the record what is going to be involved with the redevelopment plan for this very important Belleville property. With that, I'll step away and I ask that you please ask one of the...
But I think you did a great job summarizing it. There were notices sent to everybody that lives within X amount of feet of that property. It was advertised in the newspaper. It was advertised multiple times, actually. We've had hearings on this. This wasn't the first hearing we've had. We've had hearings going back on this back 2 or 3 years. I think you did a good job summarizing it. I thank you for that. You always go to the extreme with a 30-year pilot. You don't tell everybody there could be a 5-year pilot or anything less than that. But here's the summary that I'll tell everybody. You know that horrible property down on Main Street that has not changed in the last 60 years that looks like Nazi Germany bombed out after the war? Well, that's not going to be there anymore. So where that property was blighted and contaminated, that soil will be cleaned up. It will be remediated. You will not see those buildings there. You will not see that infrastructure there. You will probably wind up seeing a building just like the one to the south, which is a light warehousing building, which, by the way, there's absolutely no children. So here we stand to get a windfall of revenue where we have not, and we've lost that revenue over the past 40, 50, 60 years. We have contaminated property that will be cleaned up, and we will have a great rateable that will not produce any children there. And I believe the residents that are close by, we've made sure that the developer has actually met with the residential use that abuts that, and according to their board or their association, I forget which one, they had no complaints about the project that was going to be slated to go down there. And that's all we have at this point. We do not have a site plan yet. If and when a site plan is submitted to the planning board, there'll be a public hearing. The public will have a chance to come in and review it and make comments. Thank you.
I do hope, as I said last Thursday during the planning board meeting, that this governing body and the planning board use whatever statutory authority they have. I know that the developer largely has the discretion of what he or she wants to build on this property as long as it's consistent with the zoning. But if any way...
I thought after my summary that you were done. You're still going?
No, still
Okay, so it's a tag team.
But I want to repeat, because I think what I said at the end of last week's planning board meeting is important for all of you to hear the same thing. that this is a once in a millennium opportunity.
That we got it done. Thank you for that. I
Well, let me
appreciate
just-
that.
To do something for the current residents of Belleville. If there's any way you might be able to get some retail establishments in the form of restaurants or theaters. I know that it's a long shot about ever getting a community pool anywhere in this town.
We do get givebacks. So the developer right next door, right to the south, that warehousing, is the developer that's partnering up the $1.6 million for Lansone Park. So we do get givebacks, and it's up to this council as to where we direct those community givebacks to. But thank you.
If the developer in this can give us a little bit of that space for some needed additional recreational space, especially something like a town.
There's been a recreational renaissance going on in Belleville, if you haven't noticed, in the past couple of years, but.
I
by the way.
very well noticed. I
Okay.
have my eyes on most everything that's going on in this town.
There you go.
as
Thank
know.
you again for that.
But you know, what everyone really wants, especially this time of the year, is the community pool. If there's any way some of that space.
Well, I know you're very good with numbers. How about you do this for us? We can put you on that committee, and you can crunch those numbers on what those upfront costs are. I know they're the tunes of probably $10 million or so, and what the annual costs are, millions of dollars. I work in many municipalities that have them. Mr. Iacono is the former manager in Secaucus. They have a community pool. We basically know what the monthly costs are to operate that. And then when you subtract out the membership fees, taxes would skyrocket, and you and some of your colleagues would be the first people here screaming about how much we have to raise taxes to cover the cost of something that we can only use for 2 months out of the year.
Not
But
necessarily,
thank you.
if you're not being
All right,
facetious.
we're off the topic though on this.
If
So
you're not- if you
you
just
can
said-
add the restaurant public commenting, but we're no longer talking about this.
In the committee, that'll help, because I did, as you know, I was.
Crunch the numbers. We will take your report.
With the Board of Ed Clermont Field project. We brought that in under
We're
budget.
off this topic. You can talk about that, but if you crunch the numbers and give us a case study report, we will definitely review it.
If you would kindly, if this isn't facetiousness on
It
your
is not.
part, you're gonna make me part of the committee, I would take you up on that offer to be part of that, to see
You
what
want
can
us
be done.
to present a
can be
proposal
done.
to us, we would definitely welcome that.
Well, I would need some more information before I could actually submit a proposal. If you want to include, I would appreciate that offer to involve me in any efforts that are going to be made by this governing body in this town hall to try to get a community swimming pool.
But
in
you're
place.
good at research. You can call the other municipalities and ask them how much the upfront costs were and what their annual operating costs are, and then back in how many people we would have to sell memberships to, and then see how much we lose, because you can only use it 2 months out of the year, and that's, to me, that's a big investment for only 2 months out of the year. But we're off the topic of this, we can have this conversation right.
Provided it's open, if it's enclosed and door, then it changes
Got
the
it, that's true.
calculus.
And Lyndhurst has one of those too, so,
All right.
thank you.
I hope that-
Anybody else? For this ordinance only? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to move and close for final, close public commenting and move for final adoption.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close, move for final adoption. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 5 for public hearing, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Belleville to accept certain easements of public access to plaza and township access to utilities concerning real property located at 630 and 632 Washington Avenue.
Motion.
Need a motion to open for public? We have a motion made and seconded to open for public. All in favor?
Aye.
We're now open for public commenting on this ordinance only. Mr. Frank Antoni.
I'm sorry, is the ordinance?
Yeah, we're on the ordinance. Okay. Hearing none, seeing no others, I'll entertain a motion to close and move for final adoption.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to close and move for final adoption. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Okay, next item on our agenda is public commenting. I need a motion to open public commenting.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for public commenting. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now open for public commenting. So what that means is that any resident that has anything they want to discuss, hopefully it's township related, can basically discuss that. You have 5 minutes. All we do ask is that you abide by that 5 minutes and you come forward once you're selected and you state your name and address for the record. Sure.
Good evening.
You can lower that if you need to.
Yes, good evening. Thanks. Well, good evening to the planning board members, zoning officials, Honorable Mayor Michael Melham, and the Belleville Township Municipal Building. Well, there is an urgent need to grasp your attention and cooperation to kindly execute a solution to the following contamination problem that has been harmfully affecting many of the homeowners' properties that are located at the right-hand side of the Crescent Terrace Street. Since the years of 2011 to this present time, Madam and Sir Executor of the Belleville Municipal Building, surely you have been informed that the main source of or factors that have been causing the contaminations over the private homeowners' yards at the Crescent Terrace Street is the administration of the Belleville Municipal Building and the same producer of forming the foundation of creating a variety of harmful diseases within these garbage dumpsters. The Belleville Municipal Building's negligence towards cooperating with removing 3 garbage dumpsters that are located actually next to the fences of my property. Along farther away are 3 other the garbage dumpsters that are located as well right behind the neighbors' fences. In total, so far, there are close to 6 to 7 or 8 garbage dumpsters located right behind our fences. Okay. So then here we continue. As the 14 Crescent Terrace land has been highly affected by different types of contaminations in comparison to the other neighbors' properties, and such garbage dumpsters placement are extremely near as well our fences. So the woodland complex that is located at 53 Mayor Street in Belleville is supposedly managing these garbage dumpsters. But guess what, Mayor? It is the municipal building who are in ownership and managing all of these garbage dumpsters. It is your municipal building that enforces when the waste and the removal of these garbage dumpsters are removed and the type of waste management companies that transport these garbages as well. So we are here to request from you, Madam Speaker, Manager of the Township of Belleville, and all of you councilmen to please cooperate with the removal of all of these garbage dumpsters that are located behind our fences. We are here to peacefully and kindly reach to a solution to this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to direct that to them. It's the first I'm hearing about this ever. So I'm a little taken aback as to everything that's going on. I just searched my emails and I never got one email on this. So I've never heard of this before. So I'm glad that you brought it up. But you don't have to wait for a council meeting to do that. You could reach out to Township Manager's office, to DPW. We've had some garbage collection issues with our contractor. But this is the first I'm hearing about. Is this?
Mayor,
And you're aware?
just for clarification, last week.
Unfortunately, I can't permit a back and forth.
Yeah,
but
but last week, myself, Superintendent Welter, and Chief McKinney met.
Oh, okay.
We met, we actually had a meeting in my office. Then there was a follow-up, we went to the site to see if we can move the dumpsters. It's a
So
big.
you guys are on it?
Oh, yes, we are. We have another meeting scheduled, I believe, for Monday at 11 a.m.
With?
We did invite you to a meeting at 11 a.m. with the management company of the Condos Association.
Yes, is that true?
I'm so sorry.
There's a meeting,
That's
that's okay, you were called about a meeting Monday at 11?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so, okay.
But, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Next, somebody else?
Denise, regardless 40 Crescent Terrace, it's Branchwood Gardens or whatever name they go by. It's Woodland.
Woodlands.
Yeah. They never took care of their property. Never. There's a tree that's about 60 foot high, dead as a doornail. It's coming down on somebody's house, sooner or later. The dumpsters, when she says behind her house, it's like this.
We've had teams there. You've been there, correct?
Yeah.
Bobby, you've been there?
Yeah,
No,
they
it's a simple fix. They have a maintenance crew that drive around on golf carts. I don't know what they do. But the simple fix is, I've seen them where there was an empty dumpster with the lid closed, and they would throw their garbage on top of the one that was full. If the lids are kept closed, everything's good. I worked at Blue Cross and Blue Shield for 15 years. We used to have a dumpster in the loading dock. One time the smell got in the elevator and got up to the bosses, and they didn't like that. So basically, when you threw garbage in, we had a 5-gallon pail of these deodorizing crystals that you would throw in with the garbage to keep down the smell. It's summertime. It's going to stink. But if you keep the lids down, first of all, we got possums and raccoons and thank God we didn't see no rats.
Our dumpsters are obligated to have covers, and for exactly that reason.
Right,
Rodents and
yeah,
everything else.
they're not being used. If those guys went each day before they went home and made sure these were taken care of, also when the dumpsters are removed to get dumped, someone, I don't know how often, should get in there with a power washer, kind of clean, you know. It's really nasty. I buy fly traps, plant the bags, I don't know if you've ever seen them. You put water in it, there's like sawdust in there. What it smells like is dog crap. In 7 minutes, I can fill a bag on my back fence. 7 minutes. That's how many flies are everywhere. Okay, it's just...
It sounds like it's an enforcement issue, and it sounds like you've already contacted the right
Right. I'm just trying to...
personnel, and it sounds like they've already been acting.
I'm there 25 years. She's not there 25 years. So I'm just trying to let you guys know.
It seems like the manager's office and DPW were receptive and have gone out to site, and you're invited to a meeting on Monday. Correct?
Yes, Mayor Melvin, this has been a problem that has been affecting our neighborhood since close to 12 or 13 years so far.
I know, but I've only been here for a couple of years, the first time hearing about it.
Well, you know, we kind of learned to live with it. The dumpsters are 40 yards that way, 40
Right.
yards that way.
You shouldn't have to
I'm
live with
lucky.
it. You shouldn't have to live with it. I just wish you reached out earlier to the manager's office.
Right. Okay, I have one more issue.
Sure.
Okay. It's about this feral cat colony that Tony Caputo has. I reported it to Miss Britton, who I believe is not here anymore.
No.
She had no idea what the ordinance read, who to contact. It's supposed to be TNR, okay? Well, they don't release. They constantly feed these cats. I believe there's 3 of them. Now, if you read the ordinance, it's very strict. Like, you have to be a really responsible person to do this the right way. First of all, there's supposed to be a sign on our lawn that says there's a feral cat colony there. This woman just bought the house next door. I'm sure she paid well over $400,000. Her child can't walk in the backyard because this cat feces everywhere. When it's time for me to cut my front lawn, I have to walk the lawn first, so I don't step in it. And there ain't nothing that stinks worse than cat, like, I'm like that. It's really bad, okay? When I reported to the town, Mr. Caputo came up to me, oh, did you report me to the town? I said, sure did. Oh, well, the town says I can have as many cats as I want. So, then it was this long ordeal with Miss Britton. First she sent me to the ASPCA, then she sent me to the Associated
The first question I have, is it a registered colony?
I have no idea.
So again, we don't know either.
Okay.
And so
Right.
the man to my right here is the man that can take your information and get to the bottom
My guess
with our
is,
new.
my guess it's registered, but it's not being enforced.
Anthony,
The
so
rules and
enforcement,
regulations are
just
not-
like DPW or construction code or health.
Right.
We don't get involved with enforcement, but I'm glad you're here because the man to my right is the guy that actually make that all happen for you. Absolutely.
She's writing it down.
But if you give him copies of stuff, you give him copies of stuff.
It's no
And make sure he's got
different,
your phone number.
you know, if your dog goes on my lawn and I call the police, you get a fine.
Right.
Why should this cat be going all over?
I don't
the
disagree with you.
And remember, it's to the
And
left.
just make sure, this Anthony, make sure you have his contact information. Okay,
Okay?
thank you, Ed.
Whatever you want to do.
Anybody else, public commenting? Mr. Frantantoni.
Well, first, I'd just like to say, I don't agree with the community pool.
Thank you.
I don't think Belleville needs the expense or the liability. Resolution 17, the sale of town property, where is this?
I'm sorry, what resolution?
17.
That was pulled.
That's
When you
16
publish-
was full.
When you publish the agenda, we usually be able to click and see what it is, but the last two meetings hasn't been. Why has that been stopped?
I don't know.
What do you call it, go pilot, whatever?
No, not yet. He's got two questions. The address of the one that was pulled is, I think, Ralph Street. That's been pulled. It's not here. We're not voting on that tonight. And then
Resolution 17 has been pulled.
No.
16's been pulled.
He's asking about 17.
I apologize.
I asked 17.
17. Steve, you know where it is?
Yeah, it's the rear, it's the rear of the property, I think it's 568 Washington Avenue. It doesn't even have any street frontage in the back by the railroad tracks. It's overgrown, you'd never see it where, I think Little's used to be. It's the rear there. There's a
Graylock?
There's a, off of Graylock, yes. Off of
Below Graylock, yeah.
Below Graylock.
Graylock. Yeah.
Washington Avenue, so behind.
That-
East.
Is that the big piece of property?
No, it's a little piece of property. It's a buildable lot, but it doesn't have any street frontage.
That's not the one that abuts the property that's under construction there in the corner of Graylock Place and Washington Avenue?
Not exactly sure. You can look at the tax map, but it could be. It's possible. But that's where it is. It's back. It does not front Washington Avenue. It fronts, it's by the railroad tracks. There's no road back there.
Resolution 30, nothing ain't or where is this? What property is this?
There's a couple different properties in there. It's the building commonly referred to as the Old Town Hall. It's the adjacent property next to it, the Elks, and I believe one property below it on Valley.
See, here we go again, screwing the taxpayers. This developer went before the zoning board and got approval to build. Now he bought the Elks, now he's coming back, and now he wants another tax
Well,
abatement.
you're actually
Just for
incorrect.
tax
It's
abatement.
not the developer that got the approvals. This is somebody new.
You said the Old Town Hall.
That is the property. It's not the same owner that got the approvals many,
Well,
many years ago.
whoever it is. But that property had approval to build, and he
He
never
did.
built it. And he come back and he got approval to build more units, and he never built it. So we got to stop playing this game. To build these human cages, it goes on and on. It's got to stop. And the reason I asked about that committee, the Community Garden Committee, it says open space. So is part of their duties or mission to look at an open space project?
Mr. Fran, I don't know how else to answer that question to you, Mr. Frantantoni. I've answered it
All right,
5 times
well,
already.
Again,
The
you
ordinance
said,
that we just amended was to go from 5 members to 6 members. That was it. You have something you want to speak about open space, speak on it, that's fine.
well, I am, but that's why forget about the members, I understand that, that was an ordinance, but I'm asking you what their mission is. But anyway, I'll go on with that. I see you cleaned up the Great Lawn, and we're putting a lane on it, is that a clean and lane?
Yes.
All right. I have given to this council and to prior council the legal ad that the county put in the paper when they sold that county property. The Great Lawn, it says right in here, that bidders are advised that block 540, lots 1C and part of lot 102 are subject to redevelopment district zoning. I've been fighting for that for 20 years. The county should have never sold it. The developer should have never sold it. And just, I'm going to make it public now. About a year ago, the developer surprisingly calls me, wanted to meet with me at the Arlington Diner. He said, you're an influential person in town. And we sat there for an hour, and he told me what he wants for that. And I told him, till I die, I'm going to protect that as a Great Lawn.
You
So
and I
if he
both,
calls me,
we agree on that, Mr. Frantantoni. I
If
think
he
this
calls
council
me,
wants to
yeah.
protect that for open space as well. But your time is up, I do need you to wrap up.
So, once again, I'm giving you a copy.
I've
of
never had that
legal
before,
ad.
but I'll definitely take it for the first time. Okay.
So I hope you can explain to the developer, they should
I
never
have
bought.
explained to his father 20 years ago that they bought a park.
His father passed away.
I know that, that was 20 years
Right.
ago. I've
That-
explained to the son that he bought a park.
Just one more thing.
Sure.
If we give him his money back on there, it shouldn't be double. It should be the county, they were responsible, they should never sold that property.
Okay.
So I don't want Belleville taxpayers to have to go in their pocket to pay this guy I think he paid 400,000
yeah.
or something,
Okay.
thousand for it. But the county's responsible, they have to pay
Thank
for it. I
you.
hope
I
the
do need
people
to
fight
recognize-
that issue.
Thank you. Anybody else, public comment?
Jocelyn, 95 Bell Street. When I went to pay my water bill and tax bill, I noticed I can't give one check. So here's what happens. I go online, there's two people there, I pay the water bill. Well, first I had to go home and get another check because they wouldn't take one. So I come back, there's two people online and pay the water bill with a separate check. Now I gotta go to the other line, there's 10 people online. So, what am I gonna do, juggle lines now?
Yes.
State
Why?
statute.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so
State statute.
Belleville operates often under past practices, doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. The good thing is that I'm sure you would agree that we are correcting a lot of mistakes that have been going on for a long time, and that's one of them. And unfortunately, it's a little upsetting for people who come with one check, but next time you come, you'll know to bring two.
No, well, I did, I came with one, but I went home and got the other
And
one.
the reason why there's two different lines, I believe there's two different computer systems for the water utility and the tax.
So that's the way it's gonna be the norm now?
According to the law.
The pain, but anyway, resolution number 30. Now, let me ask, this is the third one in a week we're seeing, which is a area of redevelopment. Let me ask you, like this particular property, how did it get on the agenda? Who put it on the agenda?
They contact our redevelopment council. We have redevelopment meetings every single month. These various projects are discussed.
So the builder or the owner of the property contacts you?
No, I
Not
never
you,
said me.
I'm speaking your town, so.
You're not going to get me to say you, because I know that you're going to use it against me in the next meeting. So no, does not contact me. We have a redevelopment council that runs our redevelopment meetings. We just had one today at 4 o'clock. We meet monthly about that. They, interested developers or their attorneys, reach out to him. He brings it to the committee. The committee decides if it's a major project or not. If it's a major project, we decide to get involved and hear it out. If it's just a two-family house or something like that, you're on your own.
Okay.
But we are involved in actively trying to rebuild Washington Avenue,
No,
which is why you're
we
seeing
know
this.
that, but why is everything suddenly a redevelopment? The reason I don't like that word is because you can give them, like you mentioned before, up to 30-year tax abatement.
Or a
which
minimum
I'm-
of 5.
Or if I'd rather see the 5s, I've mentioned that in the past, a number of times.
Thank you.
I'm not done yet. Okay.
I just thank you for your comment.
Oh, thank you too. Sound nice to you once in a while. The CFO that we hired at $100 an hour, is that permanent or temporary?
It's an hourly, and the state makes us name a CFO, and that was part of the issue when we had no CFO.
No, I know that, but my question is that a permanent position or a temporary position?
What would the classification be? I know we named him CFO.
A state certification is required, so it's permanent forever. As far as the individual in the capacity got appointed, it comes with I believe it's a 4-year term.
No, because the reason I was wondering, because I noticed that you have a close relative that was just got a job in Belleville, and I was just wondering what is the title and where was it posted?
Thankfully, I'm not in charge of personnel or hiring, but we have the right man here that is, so
I'm
that's good.
looking at him too with the other eye.
Through the chair? Through the chair, yes. So we did hire a clerk in the finance department. And
Now, I hope our $100 an hour guy is not training him and he's going to leave in the past and that's where his job's going to go. We'll find out, right?
We will. Anybody else from public comment? Joe?
Good evening again, Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. First order of business, Mr. Frantantoni asked about the availability of the agendas online. Yes, this particular agenda is online, but the meetings that took place, the rework meeting of July 1st and the council meeting of July 12th, for whatever reason, those agendas are not on the Civic Web or iCompass portal. I had emailed Ms. Kavanaugh letting her know about that, but at this moment, those two agendas are not present. I would ask that the effort be made to include those for completeness sake?
This council doesn't do that, but you've now reiterated to the clerk and her boss, the manager, is here.
When she has a chance, she can get those up. Almost 2 years ago, I brought to the attention of the council and the manager that there are missing street signs on Little Street. The corner of Bell and Little and the corner of Linden and Little Street. And since you approved a block party for Little Street in September, which was one of the township's emergency roads, I hope that doesn't cause any issues, but could you please try to get those street signs in place? Thank you. Next order of business, I want to distribute something to the members of the council. As you recall, back in April 12th meeting, you approved 2 bond ordinances, one of which was the shared services bond ordinance with the Board of Ed for $11.9 million. I'm not going to go into the issues involved with that matter. Those will be addressed eventually, but I have been keeping an eye on municipal bond sales through the Emma website, which is the primary portal for these matters, and noticed at the end of July, the bond note was sold for $341,250. If you flip to the second page, you'll notice that that $17 million is comprised of 2 other bond ordinances. One of is the shared services bond ordinance for the 11.9. The other is a bond ordinance that was approved back in October of 2020 for $5.4 million, bringing the total to $17.341 million. What has me particularly concerned, and I've highlighted this for your edification on the front page, the bond note was sold on July 25th for $17,341,250. But pay particular attention to the maturity date when the lenders are expecting their money back with interest, which is about 2.5%. This.
Now, you had originally said that the interest may go 7, 8, 9, 10%, I remember. So you're admitting now it's only 2.5%.
The list of all the people.
You did say that.
Yeah, well, it's 2.5, but that's not the issue. Of course. The real concern here, Mr. Mellon, is the due date. This matures less than a year from now on July 11th, 2023. All of the people who are lending us money are expecting the return of their lent money plus interest less than a year from now. So the critical question is, where are you going to find at the July 11th of next year, if these details are correct, where are you going to come up with an extra $17.341 million to pay off all of these people who are expecting their money back? I hope you have really deep sofa cushions, because otherwise you're going to pass that obligation on to the rest of us. Please explain to me, is this correct? You have your town manager here, but I don't know if you have any of the CFO people
We don't have our bond counsel here.
This is critically important because.
And I'm sure the manager will get an answer if he doesn't have one yet. I don't know if our CFO has the answer. You do?
Of course he does.
Those notes aren't renewed, aren't due in full. They're renewed every once a year. We're going to renew it. We don't have to make a pay down till our 3rd anniversary. You understand what I'm saying?
Could you give me that in writing, because that's not what I
It's
saw.
local bond.
Could you give me a citation for that?
Yeah.
I would greatly appreciate it, because this has me very concerned, because what I saw off of the Emma site is that all of this money
But
is
he
due.
did answer you, and I think that should satisfy you.
But I'd like to see it in writing.
You can do
I'd like
that, but
to see-
your time is up. I do need you to conclude. Thank you.
Unfortunately, yes. I did have one other thing, but
We have a meeting in September.
a few seconds of my time were taken.
You're taking away from somebody else, though, unfortunately. Anybody else in public comment then? Ms. Fletcher?
From Fletcher, 33 Main Street. First of all, thank you very much to Councilman Graziano. I jokingly say he made an Italian phone call. When you see your smile, you know it. The cleanup in front of Main Street. When the state came in, it was atrocious. And, you know, he looked into it, they're still working on it. Was wondering if the town and the state are gonna work together a little more, because they've done an atrocious job on chopping those trees down and things like that. Now it looks, they've broken I don't know if the fence was broken before, or if it needs, I don't know if that falls on state or town line, but that fence has to be looked at. And again, it just has to be worked on and get cleaned up together. You know, like I said, thank you very much, Councilman, for, looking into it and, fixing that. And also, on Main Street, the section just before 21, where Lidl's is, no, Lidl's? What's this?
Lidl.
Lidl. Is that, just before 21, is that supposed to be a one-lane highway, or 1 lane or 2 lanes? Because it's a mess. Because, we've got traffic coming in and out, the lines need to be painted, and Main is a town road. I've checked with the county on that one.
It is the town road, but as I saw an email from our deputy chief about another matter on Main and right by the gas station there, going down Little.
Yeah.
Because it's a street right off a highway, the state DOT has jurisdiction over it, correct, chief?
I believe so, yes.
Yep. But the manager can make an inquiry, DPW can make an inquiry and find out what's going on. We definitely have a liaison at DOT.
Yeah, because like I said, it's very confusing, because I've been Ubering home this week, and as I'm coming down, I'm seeing the cars, and it's getting a little fuzzy over there. All right? Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Mr. Fuji.
Vic Mafucci, 61 Continental Avenue. I have a few things.
Vic, can I just have you come forward a little bit so we pick up your voice?
Sorry. Did reverse 911 calls come out for the water break?
Yes.
So I don't know if anybody had got them.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, there's a brand new company. We were transitioning into this company. Of course, when the break happened, we do have a whole bunch of lines in there. But if you heard me say during the mayor's address, we are going to be actively engaging residents to make sure that they're signed up, especially ones who were on the prior system and not necessarily on this one.
Right, okay. As far as the Great Lawn cleanup, is the left side portion going to be worked on also?
Yeah.
For the driveway towards Arlington? Also the Verizon property?
I don't know the Verizon property, but just so you know, Vic, the Great Lawn is made up of multiple lots.
I know.
So it might not be, some lots may be the owner of the building, and some lots may be the owner of the lawn that we know to be the Great Lawn. But
Michael, I was one of the ones who brought the suit. I know perfectly. The corner of Carpenter's where the Verizon building is, that isn't very well maintained either.
It's a small little house-like, and it's right on.
oh, I know that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's all covered, so,
Anthony,
Anthony?
he's on it.
Several years ago, I don't know if they still happen, you had created 3 or 4 open space zones. I was wondering why the Great Lawn was never zoned open space. You don't have to give me an answer now, but
Good question.
I've never got a good answer.
I don't know if we could do private property at that time. The open
I think
spaces.
that was one of the open space.
So, yeah, you can't zone it open space because somebody owns it. And it was, as Mr. Frantantoni says, part of a redevelopment plan. So I remember that conversation a couple years, we even did some cemeteries, I thought. We did some parks. Once we take it, and I believe we may, once we take it by eminent domain, we would certainly zone it open space.
Okay, thank you. A lot of the tax refunds that are on the list, the checks are payable to a CoreLogic centralized refunds. Does anybody know why they all go there and what the company is? Again, you don't have to answer me tonight.
No, we can probably get an answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
A lot of tax refunds, the checks are payable to CoreLogic. centralized refund?
I believe that's the company that does the tax appeal, so if they win an appeal, it goes to them and they reimburse the property owner.
Okay, it wasn't court decisions, later were it? It wasn't tax appeal court, it's just said refunds.
I don't have to go to court, our tax assessor could agree with them and issue a refund. But if I'm incorrect, and I very well may be,
I'll reach out to you
our
tomorrow.
manager can.
Yeah. One question, the ordinance 5 that was introduced, I believe, is that doing away with the 5-year abatement and replacing it with increased fees?
It's amending the 5-year, if 5 is the abatement, no. Ordinance 5 for first reading?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, we're amending it. We're not doing away with it, we're amending it.
Just the fees up front.
There's fees and there's some other particulars that are in there that we'll discuss probably for second reading.
Okay. And by the way, the young woman here has come before the zoning board, and we told her to contact the town.
Okay.
And, oh, just that. When I asked at the last meeting about the Great Lawn, about cutting down trees, I was told no trees. Well, I'm sorry, that looks like a huge stump of a tree to me.
So we've had an ongoing debate here, and a weed that grows for 30 years looks very much like a tree, believe it or not. I'm not sure if that's the one in the picture, but I have a lot of experience with that, unfortunately. That does look like a tree though, to me. But I've seen weeds that are
If the tree
12-inch
If
diameters.
the tree was dead, we took it down.
I don't know if it was or wasn't at this point.
Yeah, Bobby Walter.
And I know my time's up. Just one more thing.
I do need to wrap up.
Since this building was built, we've always had a problem with the temperature in this room.
We have.
I forgot how long ago it was built, but isn't there any
I believe
company
Mr. Frank
that can
Antoni was here.
resolve it?
Yes, we're trying.
Okay.
I was here 20 years ago and used to sweat and freeze, so
You either sweat or...
I get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in public comment? Anybody else? I can't do it. No. If I let you do it, every single person that spoke and ran out of time, if you need the manager, somebody after the meeting is available. I'll entertain a motion to close public commenting then.
Second.
We have a motion made and second to close public commenting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is resolutions. We have a consent agenda. 21. I have to pull 21, please. I believe that's the only one. Anybody else? Just give us a few more minutes, everybody. We have a few more minutes of business to do. Anybody else? No? Okay. I'm going to entertain a motion to move the consent agenda.
Motion to move the consent agenda?
We have a motion made and second to move the consent agenda with the exception of number 21. We have a motion, we have a second, clerk call roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. I need a motion for 21.
Second it?
We have a motion made and second for resolution number 21. Roll call.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. And we just have a few more minutes, everybody, of business. Thank you. So that's 21. Okay, next on the agenda is new business. Councilwoman DePena.
Yes.
I believe you have a...
Yeah, in regards to the manager, I just wanted to say thank you so much for stepping in the middle of this crisis. We appreciate you.
Just so you know, Councilman, I was right next to him until 11 o'clock. And he makes a lot more than I do.
I was next to him for a part of it myself.
He was just doing his job.
He makes a lot more than I do, trust me. Anything else for new business? No? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in
Second.
favor? Aye. We are adjourned, everybody. Next meeting, second Tuesday in September.
18.
Listen.